Hi guys, welcome back to Fresh Talk presented by Estella's Fresh Mex with me, your host, Jada Gyamfi, and a very special guest. Today we have Coach Raina Harmon.
Oh, I'm so delighted to be here.
I'm so excited you're here. Okay, Coach Raina, so you have called yourself the director of Cool Vibes.
Yeah.
I hear you just said that. So
I am.
Tell us
Creator.
a little bit. Creator?
Creator of Cool Vibes. I don't direct them, I create them. Excuse me?
I feel like it's me.
You guys are going to be in for a great podcast if this is how we're starting off today.
We will argue.
Come on now.
You are. So, Coach Raina is my position coach on our women's basketball team and assistant coach, leader of the Big Dogs. Go, my best friend,
Best friend, that's right.
Hey, best friend. And I'm so excited for you to be here today. This is so weird. You see me normally in a more formal setting.
I do. I'm excited. Can I take a moment for a second?
Go ahead.
I want to give you your flowers.
Okay.
Because to watch you like transform from, this not necessarily shy when you were in high school, not shy, but like you're just way more mature and way more confident now. Like, and I'm just so happy to see like the transformation and the progression of Jada. Like, I just want to give you your flowers because I think this podcast is amazing. I watch every episode.
You do. You're my most loyal fan.
I mean,
you really
you
are.
gotta. You're my dog, right?
It's
Like,
true,
so I got to. But no, I want to give you your flowers because the way that you're maturing and progressing in the world, like, I just love to see it.
Thank you. Now I'm ready to come back to practice tomorrow. And she's gonna be like, move faster, shoot the ball better.
Yes, cut harder, all the things. Talk more. Here we go.
Okay, Coach Raina, so let's talk about how you became involved in coaching basketball and what inspired you to be who you are today.
Yeah, no, thanks. So I'm from Detroit originally, and I didn't know, when I went to college, I played at Central Michigan University, but I knew that I wanted to stay in sports. I was not good enough to play in the WNBA, nor go overseas, nor did I really have a desire to. But I will say this, I didn't necessarily see myself on my coaching staff. And so it didn't dawn on me that I could be a coach. And so I went back home to Detroit, and then I started coaching my AAU team that I played for. And I was like, oh, I think I like this. I also coached my high school that I played for. And so I started with that group when they were in the 7th grade. And then as they progressed, I want to say they were like in the 10th grade. They were really, really good, right? We played on the EYBL circuit. Shout out to Michigan Crossover.
Oh my gosh. One of my least favorite teams to play against in AAU.
Why is that?
Because they would full court press and it was so hard to beat.
Hello. No, and so when they got around the 10th grade, I would start getting phone calls from a lot of women that looked like me, and they were college coaches. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think that's the age that I'd rather, be coaching. Also, I wish that I had more of a mentor when I was in college. And so I was like, okay, I think I want to try my hand in that. And so any coach that would call my phone to recruit my kids, I would just, tell them, hey, I think that I would love to coach. What do I need to do? People suggested go back and get your master's. I was like, all right, I'll do that. About 3 months after I got my master's, I got a phone call from the University of Michigan. And I was like, oh, I'm about to become an assistant coach. Like right from AAU. No, that's not quite how it works. But he did ask if I wanted to interview to be his director of basketball operations. And so got the interview, got the job. So I started off as a Dobo for 2 years at Michigan.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I did. And so I was there for 2 seasons, but I knew that I wanted to coach. And so it wasn't my coach when I was at Central Michigan, but another coach that I had knew previously. She was now the new coach at CMU. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, listen, I know I don't have any experience, but I would love for you to talk to like all the administrators there at school just to see like about my character and my morals and things like that. You know that I can recruit Detroit because I just came from an AAU program, right. And so she took a chance on me. And so then my first stop as a collegiate coach was at CMU for 5 years. I kind of fell in love with it, found my coaching voice there. And then from there, though, my trip to Iowa a little bit, I knew that Coach G was going to retire before my stepson made it through his high school career. And I didn't want him to be bouncing around cities. So I was like, hey, I would love to coach in the Big Ten. If you know of any staffs that you think I would be a great fit on, let me know. Again, manifested that. A year later, Lisa Bluter calls my phone, and I'm like, Iowa, all right, I'll go see, So came out here, interview 8 years ago, and the rest is history.
Oh, that's so exciting. It's so, like, I don't know, to give you your flowers that I'm not going to glaze because I'm not like that. But, like, hearing about we've talked about this before a little bit too, because I don't know if you remember, but my freshman year I interviewed you for a paper.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
On an airplane on the way to a basketball trip, I was asking Coach Raina
other duties as assigned.
all these questions of like, she probably would rather be like sleeping or something.
No.
And I'm like, and what did you say? Repeat that for me. But it's just really cool to hear about how like you wish that you had a good mentor for yourself, and now you're that for like us and so many people. Like
that's my why.
Yeah, like you. I don't know. I'm vlogging right now behind the scenes of this episode, and I was telling them like you might be one of my favorite basketball coaches ever.
Oh, thank you.
And you won't hear me say it again. Give me 2.5 years.
That's all right. Clip this, and send it to me.
Send it to her. But yeah, you've just like, I don't know. I feel like you've changed like our lives. So many people come back and like, we always talk about Coach Raina, whether it's the bad memories, like the Ohio State game last year, which I can't stop bringing up. Or like all the good times, like when they come back and they get to hang out with you. And I don't know. It's just, you're great.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. But for me, it's just like, I remember what it was like for me in college, right? And so I pride myself on being a people person. And I think part of that is because I'm an only child, right? So I grew up alone a lot. And then just thinking about like, what is it that I needed, you know, when I was in college? And I just try to be that. You know, I tweet or I will put this on Instagram, like people first, people always. But I mean that, you know, like as we go through the coaching business, obviously my job is to win games. But I think when you can provide kids with a great culture to be around, just mentorship, I think for me being vulnerable with you guys, right? I probably share a lot of my life more than a lot of other coaches, but it humanizes me in a way that we can build a different connection. And so really that's just my why. And I think when you can go through, you know, 4 or 5 years with a coach like that, then, you know, it really helps you guys find the best in yourself too, because you see me every day trying to find the best in myself. So
yeah, it does. I definitely feel like I've learned a lot from you. And whatever, and using my voice and whatever.
That's right.
All that stuff, I guess. Now a word from our sponsor, Emily at Salon Urban. Okay, so how has your role changed from like your first coaching position to where you are now? Obviously, you started as a dobo, which is a lot different than an assistant coach. But like, how has your mindset changed and like kind of your responsibilities?
Yeah, I would say throughout my experiences. So I used to see being a coach one way, especially my first year when I got to CMU, right? I thought I had to be like this authority figure. Like there were certain lines you couldn't cross. It had to be like, you know, and not to say, like, I know you see me like as an older mentor figure, but I know that people also call us friends, and I do, you know, we'll be that. But for me, when I first got into coaching, it was like, you can't be the friend, you can't be this and that. And it was just like, okay, well, this feels very inauthentic.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine.
And because of that, though, I think about like how I would even deliver my scouts, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was very like robotic, like me trying to make sure that people knew who was in charge. And I think as I just continued to progress through my career, it was like, this does not feel like me. Yeah. You know, so trying to find my voice, I think within my first 4 years of coaching, like helped transition me to who I am right now. And just, I don't know, I rap scout sometimes, right? Like, I mean, that just feels more natural. And like, when I'll ask y'all, well, what does this person do? Y'all rap it back to me because I'm connecting with you in an authentic way. Mm-hmm. But I would even say just like some of the responsibilities that I've had as a dobo translated like right away, right? So knowing the itinerary and making sure that you read it and don't go to the dobo that took all that time to write what time they're leaving on a piece of paper. Don't text them, don't ask them. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, just some of those transferable skills, and obviously just different experiences. So I've always been a defensive-minded coach, but I think, you know, coming here to Iowa has shifted a lot because we are very offensive-minded, right? And so, but for me, even to find my voice in that with a staff that had been together for like 24 years, and it's like, okay, when do I take my chance to be like, hey guys, can we try this? I mean, that took some time, over 7 years with Lisa Bluter, but now year 8 with Jan. I'm like, she's gonna say yes, she's gonna say no, she's gonna say I don't know, but I'm just gonna shoot my shot and it's gonna be what it is, you know. And so for me, it's been real fun just trying to find my voice. And I would say right now, you know, I've always been defensive minded, learned to be offensive minded, learned to be kind of that player development coach through my position group. But then also, I forget the last point of that. That's my old age. Am I cold?
And also, that's all I have.
That's all I got. Watch, it's going to come back in like 12 seconds.
Okay, so more about your coaching style. Who do you think has like influenced you the most in to have this perspective that you have of like being personable, being like, not that you're just our friend, but like, I don't know, just to make that connection with the players?
Yeah, I would say the people that I've coached under first and foremost, right? So Kevin Borseth, Sue Guevara, Lisa Bluter, Jan Jensen, right? Just watching how they build their culture and how they relate to people in different rooms, right? So being able to relate to your players is a lot different than being able to relate to donors,
Right.
which is a lot different than being able to relate to your peers or your boss, right? Administration. So I would say them first and foremost. But then I think just with the authenticity piece, I followed Dawn Staley's career for a long time, and just watching her be able to use her platform, her voice, and then how she loves her players, it kind of gave me the green light to be like, just be you.
Yeah.
Like, we're similar in a lot of ways. And it's like, you can lead from where you are. Even as an assistant coach, you can go ahead and be that leader too, just like she is. And so I've had some great mentors, and one mentor from afar that I've been able to kind of follow a little bit.
That's cool. And you got your swag from her too. You guys
A little bit.
that
I mean,
swag.
I don't be out there wearing Versace and all that yet.
She's
yet. We gonna leave that for Coach J though.
Her shoes were so
Swagger.
fun. I don't know if you guys, you probably have seen her shoes, but Coach J had on just the perfect shoe. Louis Vuitton. I don't even know what they're called. They're way too expensive for me. I don't even need to know the name.
No,
I can't afford it.
Before the game, we were getting dressed in the locker room, or whatever. And she was like, "All right, Raina, you got to tell me." I always told her, "I'm gonna be that coach that's like, I'm gonna be your friend. If you look crazy, I'm not letting you go out there looking crazy on the sidelines. I'm not gonna do it."
Right.
I've seen some coaches out there wearing. Anyway, I'm like, I'm gonna tell you what I think. And so she's like, "What do you think?" And then she brings out this like brownish orange box, and I was like, I know, like, and I thought it was gonna be a heel, right?
Yeah.
Then she pulled out the sneakers. I was like, "Oh yeah, you got to wear those."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were fire.
Yeah.
Shout out Cammie. Coach J's best friend
From Vegas.
She's so funny. Every time she brings her up, she's like, "I don't know if you know my good friend Cammie." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Cammie from Vegas, your best friend." We know
She
Cammie.
says it like that every single time. I'm like, Coach J, you've told me this 100 times. Cammie, your best friend from Vegas. Like, I know her at this point. She's on speed dial.
So funny. Oh my gosh. But okay. So talking about your roles and responsibilities, I feel like a lot of people might not understand like how the coaching jobs are delegated throughout all of you. So what are your like roles and responsibilities? I feel like I could answer this question myself, but
Yeah. Boom. It just came back to me.
Oh,
so the
go.
last thing that I was going to say. And now with this new title that I have,
Oh, yes.
as well as assistant coach, director of recruiting, right?
I didn't even know that you had that.
Yeah, thank you. So that's new this year under Coach J. And so the question was, position coach, right? And I want to talk a little bit about that, right?
Yeah.
And so people are like, how did this big dogs thing become a group? And so when I first got to Iowa, like my position group, like we've always been good. We've always had that drive. We've always had that grit, right? But we were responsible for like so much. I mean, you know our system, right? Like 3s and 4s, we got to be able to handle the ball like point guards. We got to be able to run the floor and post up like posts. Like we're called on for a lot, right?
Yeah.
You got to go rebound. You got to go do this and do that. And I was like, how can I rally these guys to form an identity? So like, it's like, nah, like we here and we gonna hold it down. Like we gonna be the anchor of the group. And so me just always calling them big dogs and always being like, we gonna get it done. We gonna be the best ones out here. And I mean, dang, 8 years later, I mean, like, one of us has gone to the WNBA. You know, like that's super cool.
We have some pretty good history with our group.
I'd say.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd say. And so that's been really fun. So that's part of my job, you know, just as a position coach. Right now, being kind of in charge of our defense, myself and Sean. That's been fun, coming up with some like new schemes and stuff. And obviously, the fans, they won't be able to see some of those things that we're going to do until later in the season because we don't want to give it all away, right? It's a long season, so you want to slowly roll things out. So him and I just being able to have those conversations about like what we look like defensively this year, and I'm super excited because we're much bigger and much longer.
Yeah.
I think we can mix things up a lot. And then director of recruiting, right? And so taking that over from Jan, and that just means everything from graphics to making sure that everybody has the schedules, that we're making sure we're staying in contact, to, you know, all the itineraries when recruits come on campus, which is a huge undertaking. But no, it's been fun to be in that role. I feel like it's great for me to get that on my resume. And I just relate to them a lot, you know, so to just be able to shoot a text or make a phone call, talk to some parents.
Make TikToks.
Make TikToks. Shorty knows this.
You're so funny. You are like probably the coolest out there. Like I don't know. It's so interesting to see. And like, so I didn't even know that this director of recruiting, and that makes so much sense now because like even I talked to you through recruiting and Coach Bluter, but I always talked to Coach Jay, and now I see she was the director of recruiting
That's
when
right.
I was in high school all those years ago because I'm so old and mature now. But
wait, and things were, I would say, oh my gosh, why do I keep losing all my, I'm old.
Yeah. The oldest guest we've had on the show, Raina Harmon, everybody.
And that's my time. Good night. No, I don't even know what I was about to. Oh, I do. Okay, so even before Coach Jay took over the job, though, it was a little different at Iowa. Like, we would recruit, like, territories. Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird for me now because I literally have just started to recruit the state of Iowa, although I'm in year 8.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be like, so I had a lot of like the East Coast. So me being from Detroit, right? I had like Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, up into Canada, you know, and the East Coast as well. And so I really didn't recruit Iowa that much. Obviously, I knew who everybody was, and those are the people that came the most to campus, right? So we ended up having a relationship, but I wasn't calling you often, you know, which is weird now that we're like so close. I wasn't your lead recruiter.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting now just to kind of recruit the state and to see, you know, the impact that I'm being able to have, like all the great players around the state of Iowa.
Yeah. I feel like people, I don't know, there's probably a lot of different like ways that different programs do things, but I always thought that was interesting too. Like, because I feel like a lot of people would probably think that you recruit the players that you're going to coach, and Coach Jay recruits the post, which obviously you do a little bit of that. But I always thought like I remember that you would always tell me like, oh, well, I recruit like Michigan, and you would always be gone on all these trips and leaving us and never there for us.
Oh my gosh, like 3 times a year.
No, okay, you just missed the other day, and that
was
it
once.
was right after I got my hair done too. So I came to practice, and I like had done it real nice.
And you wanted to show me?
Waiting for Raina to walk in, and then it hit me when like there was.
Your Instagram, I'm on a plane.
Literally, I was like, she's not even gonna be here. Damn.
No. So, you know what's so funny is like, with every class, it never fails, right? Like, you'll give me some static about it, right? But not really. Like, I usually know when I'm going to be gone because I'll tell you, Sid, Hannah, whatever. But like, it was so funny. So I landed in Detroit, and Aaliyah DM'd me and was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not in practice? I was like, here we go.
Dude, my freshman year, we have like given you some more slack, but like, I remember my freshman and sophomore year, if you weren't there, like me and Gabby would be
oh my butt.
Lost. Like, lost and pissed.
When are you coming back?
Yeah. Well, and you'd get back, and I'd be like, well, you just leave us. You don't even care about us. Why did
this
you
is your fault.
Back?
The reason that I'm screwing up this drill is your fault because of yesterday. How does that work?
We were so bad. I learned a lot of my sassiness from Gabby.
Oh, hello.
Might I just say?
My gray hair kids.
We the best. Okay, so I know that you've been vlogging and doing your YouTube and kind of showing people like a behind the scenes, but on a game day, what does like a typical day look like for you?
Great question. At home, because that's different, right? And so it's weird for people to hear this, but I feel like I have the most time on a game day at home because all of our pre-work is done. At that moment, I'm just trying to center, really.
Yeah.
And so wake up, little Peloton workout. Right, gotta get this work in.
I didn't want to, but hashtag work every day.
Every day.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
man, listen. If I'm gonna ask y'all to do things that are hard, then I have to do so too. Okay, so just putting that out there. So usually workout, game day. Try to get some caffeine in the morning, so like some coffee, and then I'm usually figuring out like right now. Like a recruiting schedule. Who do I need to call this week? Do I need to talk to anybody like before game time, before tip off, and then start doing some prep for like what are my upcoming scouts. So maybe I'm watching some film on a future game, or maybe if it's not my scout, just going over, you know, the team that we're going to play that evening. Then we go to shoot around. Typically between shoot around and when we eat, I'm chilling. Like, I'm just catching up. I'm watching ESPN. Nice. Like, I'm just, no school for me. I've served my time.
Meanwhile, I'm running around with, like, a chicken with the head cut off, trying to make it everywhere on time.
Yeah, so I'm chilling. And then we'll have pregame meal. And I like to stay a little bit longer on those days just to fill everybody out and just make sure everybody's kind of, like, calm, right, before the game starts. Go get dressed. Listen to some pregame vibes. Usually me and T take over the aux in the locker room.
Trouble.
And then Shorty got to have a monster. I've been trying not to this year, but old habits die hard.
That one Saturday practice we had, I brought in Alani. Coach Raina had a monster.
You just need that caffeine. Nah, so usually monster, especially if it's a late game. And then I'm out there usually an hour before tip off. Again, just to see the crowd, see the vibes, see the other team, make sure they brought everybody, see if they have any injuries, things like that, and then get ready for the game.
Yeah. And
then after the game, though, we watch film as a staff typically after the game. And so it could be some long nights, especially, I mean, we have to wait for the press conference to finish. If our staff, if we have family there, you know, some people are talking to their family and things like that. But I think for us, when I first got here, I was like, you mean to tell me I'm about to get home at what time? But I do like it right now because when I wake up the next day, I've already seen the film. You know, so if you want to come and watch film the next morning before practice, I already have watched it. I already know what clips we need to watch. So I do appreciate just using our efficiency that way. And it's fun with our staff, just being together after a game.
I would love to just sit in that room for maybe 10 minutes, not the whole night. But I'm not going to lie. Like, we do have, I think you guys are so funny. Like, people don't understand. Even, like you're obviously, you and Tanaya, I think, are like funny. Like, everyone gets your jokes, everyone always laughs, but Coach Abby is so funny. Like, she has like dad humor a little bit and like old person humor.
What was the text she sent the other day? Like, Kylie, 6 steals, yo. I was like, what the heck is that yo there for?
She's so cute. It's so funny. I just love her. But she always tells me, she'll be like, you're the only one who really gets my jokes. And I'm like, and they're so funny. You just gotta
she is
listen
funny.
for 'em.
No, she is very
really
funny.
Is.
Yeah,
she cracks me up. And Coach J is just goofy too. She's just like adorable.
She is adorable.
I like when she does her little dance and like tries to be all cool and stuff. I'm like,
yeah, no, for real. Like, I love our staff. I mean, the past 7 years with others, and then even this year, I mean, I just think we have great synergy. Mm-hmm. Everybody's humble. There's no me, right? Yeah. Like, we're all here to serve Coach J. Like, and she is giving us, like, pointing the spotlight at us whenever she can. Like, it's for real. Like, we really love each other like a family.
Yeah. It's just great vibes every day. And Sean.
Yeah.
Sean and Randy. We have like, I wish you guys could like, we need like those 30-second like highlight reels of just our coaches. Like, you guys have some really, really good moments. His birthday was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
He's a character.
He really is. And I can just, talk about
him. And I have dance parties on Thursdays.
Where? Who? What?
In his office.
And why?
Because, like, sometimes, you just in your office grinding. And then it just be like, you look up and the day is gone. And daylight savings time now is dark at like 4. Like, you just got to do something. And so this started before Sean even got here, right? So whoever would occupy the end office, I would go down there and be like, give me a beat. And then just like start dancing, start vibing. Like, and I don't care what anybody else is doing. Sometimes Coach Jay will be like on a podcast in her office and we'll have the volume like cranked up. Sometimes you just got to create creative good vibes.
Here she goes, y'all. That's so funny. Sean and I have dance parties on Thursdays.
We do.
Okay.
And B hops in them sometimes too. But usually she just watches.
Aw, I love that. And now a word from our sponsor, Madison at Mad Lashes Salon and Boutique. So obviously you have 3s, 4s. So like we even had Kylie for a little bit. She's like a 2-3. Mm-hmm. You have Hannah who's a 4-5. Mm-hmm. It's like you got
everybody.
So how do you go about like player development, especially for those players who can play multiple different roles?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And so in the spring, for those that are coming back, starting to have those conversations, go ahead and tell your story. Go.
In the spring. I hate to see Coach Raina in the spring. Truly hate. I will be in the middle of a workout, getting my water break, and I'm on my phone like, Coach Raina has me running all over the place doing the star drill. I'm about to pass out. I can't see straight, cross-eyed, can't make a shot. The whole 9 yards. Spring is terrifying with Coach Raina. But it's great.
You're welcome.
It is great. And honestly, it's a true test of your mental toughness. And I've learned a lot. Last spring, I learned a lot.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the time where you can, like, really push it and try new things, right? Like, in the summer, you're trying to figure out synergy with a new team, and then in the fall, you're getting ready for the season. So, like, there's no time like the spring to just try new things, right?
Yeah, you had me doing some crazy stuff.
I did. Why not? I mean, get out your, because it gets bored after a while, and you did it well, okay?
I'm like, Coach Raina, I don't know if you've seen me play. I don't have all this flexibility. And then next thing you know, I'm, like, throwing it backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, don't limit yourself, right? Like, bet on yourself, okay?
So funny.
No, but I think just having a relationship, and so like after every season with those that are coming back, just asking the questions like, what do you want? Mm-hmm. for your career. And then me like kind of compartmentalizing that and filing that, and then start to train you to become that thing for that next year, understanding that it's a process, and depending on how many years you have left, right, it's going to look different for everybody, but just knowing, one, what your strengths are, two, like, you can't work on every single weakness, but what weakness do we need to focus on, this one thing that's going to make a big difference, right? And so for us, last spring we were talking about rebounding and finishing, right? Like that's it. Yeah. And I mean, boom, then NIU you come out, was like, that was so funny. At halftime, you come in, and that was for you. Thank you.
Very aggressive with my delivery. Every time I do anything good, that like, because I feel like I have like a little bit of height dysmorphia. I really think I'm out here 5'4".
No.
But I'm not.
No, when I called you the other day like 6'4".
Yeah, you're like
growing.
6'7".
No, for real.
But whenever I do anything that like exemplifies a big dog whatsoever, I look at Coach and I'm like, that was for you.
With that attitude.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm happy about it, mad at it. I'm like, that was for you. You're welcome. I'm done. See ya.
And I'm usually like, thank you. Do it again next, please. No, but I mean, that's just kind of, the way that I've approached it, because obviously, somebody like Kylie, when she was in our position group, and somebody like Hannah is going to be like very different, right? But so you just got to know what their strengths are, how you plan to use them for that next year, and then help work towards that.
Yeah, I think you do a great job of that.
Oh, thank you. Every time you give me a compliment, you look at the camera like, and we go.
Because behind it, there's a little bit of lore, because I'm very grateful for the developmental time that we've spent together, but those springs, I have trauma.
Well, you got, what, one more?
Oh
Moving right along.
And I'm going to be 21. I'm going to be old.
Welcome.
I'm not even a teenager anymore. This is crazy.
I was about to say you'll be the oldest person that I've ever coached, but...
No. Kate Martin.
Love you,
very
Kate.
much.
I love you, Kate. I love you so
she's
much.
Like 27.
Don't do my dog like that.
She's so funny. When I had them in here, I was like, so tell me about your favorite game through your, 4 or 5 years, 11 years for you, Kate. She didn't think it was
I heard you say that. You can't do my dog like that.
It's comedy. Oh, she was here for forever.
I
and she's still playing.
I know.
I don't know how she does it. She's great.
She is great.
Okay, so this is a question that I pulled up on ChatGPT, but also I kind of had for myself as well. So what is like scouting like for you guys? I don't ever kind of understand the pattern of who gets what scout and when and why.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense like at the end of the year, because so many different things can happen, but like what is that process like?
Yeah, so in the past, Coach Fitz would kind of just decide like who gets the most scouts. And so it's pretty much based on like who's going to go recruiting the most, right?
Oh, yeah.
And who's not. And so you look at that, and right, Sean is not going to be out on the road that much, so he has a ton of scouts. I would say Randy probably won't be on the road that much either, so she's going to have a ton of scouts. Right. Whereas myself and Abby, we're probably going to have less, but obviously that's something that we still want to be able to have and brush up on. So we go ahead and divide them up, and you try not to have one person have so many in a row. Sometimes you can't help it, especially when in the Big Ten when we used to have those double plays, but now we only have one.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of just like, well, thinking about Sean and where he came from in the ACC, like, does he know some of those ACC teams better than maybe I do? Right. Probably. What teams that I have last year, does it make sense for me to keep those same teams based on the schedule that we have, and based on the time in which I think I'm going to be going recruiting? And so that's kind of how we decide who's going to take which scout. And so it's not necessarily done equally, but there is a rhyme or reason behind it. And then after that, you just kind of get however many films, as I would say maximum, you probably watch like 6 games. But right now, in the time that we're in, we don't have 6 available games to watch. Right. And so then you're just trying to get down tendencies, right? So personnel, obviously, if you have, the same coach and team for a few years, you start to, so like me with Nebraska, Minnesota, it's been the same for a while. Yeah. So I have patterns, right? But like anybody that's scouting us this year, good luck. Yeah. Good luck, right? I mean, new coach, 6 new players. So, just trying to figure out a good pattern that works for everybody.
Yeah. I love when you guys get to do your scout. It's so cute. It's like you've been working so hard on this little presentation. And
and then you guys don't defend the ball screens correctly, and then we get upset.
I'm like, Coach Raina, wait, is she a shooter or a driver? I don't remember. That's like the hardest part, though.
Just look at your scout.
But when it gets down to it, like, our gray squad plays these girls, and like I'm really good at remembering faces. Yeah. So then you go out there and you're guarding these boys, and I'm like, you don't look like number 34. And so I get really confused.
No, I think too, once we get further into the season, and then we spend more time because we have more game film, then I think it kind of levels out for everybody. Yeah. I think, our team does a great job of knowing their scout.
I think so,
right?
too.
Like Sean just gave you guys a scout, and then he asked you guys like 3 questions like 20 minutes later, and you guys were like,
so
bang, bang, bang. What's number 1? Number 2? You're like, actually, no, but no, I appreciate you guys. You just. You want to talk about this? I could never get my words out.
Rainish.
You guys, they make so much fun of me every day, right after free throws. The wings and the rails. And every time I'm in a rush and I'm trying to tell them what to go, it comes out wing and whales. Like, do you want us to get on the wing and whale, Coach Raina? I'm like, can y'all just leave me alone? Get off my back for a minute.
You are never safe. That's like one of the funniest things to me is when people stumble on their words.
And I do that all the time.
And you do it with so much confidence every time, and that's what gets me. I'm like, okay, period, wing and whale. Let's do it. Why not?
Even if I'm not talking to you, like you could be somewhere over here, I will pause and be like, you back over there like kiki.
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. It's so funny. But also funny on the recruiting thing, or not recruiting, scouting.
Yeah.
So last night our team obviously was watching like the Indiana Harvard game.
Yeah.
What a game, by the way.
I know. I only caught the end. I know.
I was like, I've never paid. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Careful. Never watched games before.
I pay pretty good attention to most games, but like,
yeah.
It's hard with the Big Ten too because it's like you know what they're gonna do, like this player is gonna play really well, and so it's like not as interesting for me. Mm-hmm. But I was watching that game so intently. But everyone was like asking like, "Oh, what's this girl's name?" I'm like, "You don't know her?" I'm like, "How do you not know her name?"
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess it's different for us because like we've been playing against them for 3 years. So.
Yeah.
I don't know, the freshman, I was like, put some respect on her name. Like, I was like, just wait till she cooks us in a month. Like, this is going to be your fault. I'm blaming you.
We'll get stops.
True.
We'll get stops.
True. But you got to scare them a little bit.
No, for real. I mean, that's because, too, like, you don't watch game like a normal fan, right? Yeah. Like, you're not watching it like that. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, I heard this play call. I know they're about to run, Like, her tendencies are to go left, or she's going to take a pull-up. She's going to shoot a 3 behind the ball screen. Once you know, you just watch it a little bit differently. But, of course, our freshmen, they're like, who's that?
Yeah, I'm like,
your matchup,
did you not
actually.
Watch the game last year on February 25th? I'm like, hello? Where have you been?
Yeah, I'm excited for them though to kind of go through the process and like just watch their career. No, but I mean they're so confident, like they're having so much fun. Like
they are great.
They are, and they've started giving me gray hairs already too. Listen, Taylor Strimlow, I hope you watch this.
Oh my gosh, watching you yell at her. I was like sitting there like this. I'm like, Taylor, reach for the ball, see what happens.
She keeps doing it over and over. Like, I text her today about something completely irrelevant to basketball, and I was like, hey, yo, get back Tay. I need you to da-da-da-da-da. Her new name is Get Back Taylor because she needs to get back and stop running towards the ball. Remember, was it our scrimmage? I don't know. Maybe it was our scrimmage or our exhibition game, but I'm yelling, get back, and she got a steal and got a layup.
Yeah.
And then she got looked at me and was like, and I was like, this rewarding bad behavior?
She's so funny. She was like, the most entertaining person to watch ever. She's so like competitive with herself.
Yes.
Like, everything. Even if she just gets like a hand on the ball, she's like, let's go.
That's right.
It's so
anything.
Entertaining. Like she's just like a spitfire. I don't even know how to describe it.
The little things matter to her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like her offensive rebounding, like the first scrimmages we had this summer, the freshmen were doing some crazy things. Ava Hayden had like a tip in, almost alley-oop.
Yeah.
I was like,
her vertical is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you guys make me feel old, my bones crack, and you guys
because you are.
I'm not that old. I'm old. Oh my god, I'm
almost
done. Woo, Lord.
You're old. Yo, before practice now, you be out there with the
guys, I go through it every
heating
single
pad
day.
on your knees.
2 heating pads. I walk in the training room,
gosh.
Like, I need 2 hot packs, 4 ibuprofen, and a glass of water. Please.
I'll give you that 1 week though, because that was tough. Every rep for like 5 days. Every rep, no complaints.
No.
Communicating.
No complaints.
No, I wouldn't say. I mean,
I didn't have time.
No. Next play.
Everything I tried to say was all internal.
I think you got much better that week.
Thank you.
No, for real.
Well, I got in shape. That's for damn sure.
That is for sure.
But yeah, it's getting tough out here. I don't know how Kate did it.
Smart with the reps.
True. I wish if I got the choice in my reps.
You're going in. You're welcome.
My favorite thing ever is when you tell the freshmen like, I need you guys to go, and I'm like, thank God.
Go right ahead.
Like, Coach Raina, you're my favorite. I love you. Oh my God.
And then what? 2 minutes later, Jada, got it.
Fine. I try to hide. I'm like,
you cannot.
No, never. Okay, guys, my new obsession, Poppy. The flavor is so good, and It doesn't hurt my tummy, which is what I really like about it. It's good and healthy for your gut, and it tastes amazing. This is my favorite flavor, if you guys are wondering. It's Doc Pop, and another fan favorite is the orange creamsicle. But if you haven't tried it, you definitely should, because it's my favorite. Okay, this is also interesting. So, because I guess from my perspective, when we have like our little team huddles you guys have, like for every timeout, it starts just like all the players together and all the coaches together. What goes down in that huddle? Like, how do you guys effectively communicate like what you see is going on? Because I feel like you each kind of watch for different things. Like you're kind of in head.
Oh, what's that? What's that there?
Well, I don't even know what I was trying to say. You're in charge of the defensive stuff.
Yeah.
So like, how do you guys communicate like what needs priority to be like addressed?
Yeah. So typically, I'm last to the huddle. And so I can't tell you what happens before that because I'm not there.
Oh, I was like...
No, just because also with defense, right, I'm watching for subs. And so a lot of times there'll be like 2-3 people at the scores table. So I'm trying to figure out like who they actually came in for, right? So I'm typically watching like the other team's bench to figure out, okay, what matchups do I need to get? And so then because of that, Sean is usually talking about like overall, schematically, defensively, like, hey, we need to do this on a ball screen, or we need to try to do this. We need to switch these people. Like him and I will have those conversations like on the bench for him to be able to deliver that information. And then I'll come in real quickly and like if we're in the bonus, I'll say like make sure everybody knows we're in the bonus, things like that, or like, hey, we need to switch our defenses because these people came in, so make sure, Coach Jay, that you reiterate that when you get to the bench. But then like Randy and Abby, you know, usually they talk about offensive stuff first, and then Coach Jay's writing that on the board, and then Sean will come in, and then I'll come in with my like 1-2 quick hitters.
Yeah. My favorite thing ever is when I'm like, you know, doing my coaching job, telling people what to, like, some adjustments that I see, and then Coach Jay comes with their clipboard, and it's, like, the 3 things
Same thing.
out. I'm like, you see what I said? Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about, period.
When we say Coach Jay, we talking about you?
Yes! Oh, my gosh. They should start calling me that. Next year, I'll make the freshmen call me that.
Oh, my God.
Coach Jay. Mini Coach Jay.
God
and
bless.
Mini Coach Ray. That's me, the best of both worlds.
Mini me.
Okay, so about team culture, because unbiased, I seriously think that we have, like, the best culture in all of America and all of the nation.
I'd agree.
Ever known to man.
Ever.
Literally.
In the history of culture.
My best friends, my future kids, aunts, my bridesmaids.
No, for sure.
You're the grandma to my dog.
Yep, that's my grandpup. Little Luna.
So what do you think is like, okay, first let's start with how would you describe our culture to people who don't necessarily get to see it?
Yeah. Close. Like, we're all just close.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, like, where people are from, like, what you believe. Like, we're just close. Like, I don't necessarily see, like, obviously, so you and, you know, some of them that left this past year, you guys are really tight. But it wouldn't be anything to see you also hanging out with Sydney, right? Or, like, you hanging out with Hannah. Or, like, or Caitlin hanging out with Kylie. Right. You know? And so I think there's just mutual respect and actual friendship. Like, again, and when I came into coaching, I would always hear this thing that's like, we don't need you to be friends. We just need you to be good teammates on the floor. Sure, that's fine. But you can have a lot more success if you're actually friends. And so that's what I realize is that you guys actually love each other. You guys actually do things with each other outside of basketball. Yeah. And the way that you guys know each other off the court, I think just helps all the success that we've had on the court. And so, but the same thing holds true for our coaching staff, right? Like, our families are close. Yeah. Even me and Tanaya, like, I did a home visit with Tanaya when I was at Central Michigan, right? Like, her and I have been close since before I got here to Iowa. But I also know her parents really well, right? She knows my wife really well. And so I think
Miss Rita. Hey girl, Miss Rita.
Shout out to Sarita, my wife.
What up, twin? Proceed.
Yeah, I am. Who did you call me? Remember that time you made me a name tag? And I was Sarita's wife. We were at an Iowa women's basketball. What was it? Habitat for Humanity. We were building a house, and you like put Sharita's wife on there. I was like, that's bogus.
That's so funny.
Anyway, but I think just to be able to bring, you know, all parts of us. I also think that like we judge in a funny way, but we really don't judge for real, right? Yeah. Like everybody can bring their authentic self to our space and our circle,
that is
and
so
I think
true.
That's what's most important.
Yeah. I know. I feel like, I don't know, especially in our locker room, like there's obviously been a lot of like vulnerability in the past few years. Like we work really hard as a team, and like our staff gives us opportunities to be vulnerable with each other. Yeah. Whether it's through like, I don't know, team therapy sessions,
it's like
I guess
just intentional conversations.
Yeah.
Right?
Like we have a lot of that, and I feel like it has made us way closer. Like in the locker room, it's just such a safe space. Like I have never gone into practice like ever, even from my first day ever being here, which was crazy. I've always just felt like a sense of comfort, and like I've always been my true self to everyone on the team, and I hear that feedback a lot. I think that might just be a me thing because I can't lie. I'm a bad liar. I have a hard time being fake. So I'm like, what you see is what you get.
That's right. But I think that's
myself.
our staff, right? And so like when you think about the recruiting process, like hopefully I've been the same person that you met like in 11th grade. Like, and us telling your parents like, we're going to take care of your daughter. Like, we're going to take care of your daughter. Like, you know, I don't know how many rings she's going to get, how many awards she's going to win. I don't know, but I do know that she's going to be a great young woman when she leaves this university and out of our care. You know, and so I think, you know, a lot of people say that in the recruiting process, but we really mean it, right? Like, I mean, just in our daily interactions, our conversations, our text messages, like, we really mean that. And so I think that kind of starts from the top, right? It started with Lisa, and Jan continues to uphold that, and that's just, it flows throughout our entire program.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, it's very comforting to me, because my siblings have all gone through like college sports and they've all had really different experiences, but I think I have the best one.
Hello.
And I've always been on the best team in comparison to them. And they know that as well. But just seeing like you guys check in on us, like we're people to you. We're not just players. We're not just numbers or stats or, you know, placed at value. Like you care about us.
That's just what we get to do together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like I want to mentor you and help you be the best person you can be. Like basketball just is the thing that brought us together for us to be able to do that.
I love you guys for real, but I'm still going to be so annoying at practice tomorrow.
We know.
I can bet.
I have a question.
Yes. Oh, no.
Okay, because no, I'm old. How do you actually ask something to Chat GPT? Is it like an app or is it like...
So I have the app, and professors, I don't use this in school because I'm going to be a future teacher. Here's what I have to say about AI.
Yeah.
Use it as a resource. Do not copy and paste. I've know of so many people who have been busted for that. It's illegal at the university, guys, seriously.
Yeah.
But it's good to use as a resource.
Okay.
And it's really nice for me when it comes to like lesson plans for like teaching, because you can say like, what's a good word work activity? Like I do that for my lesson plans, and it gives you, but you just literally type it in. So I typed in good questions to ask assistant basketball coach on a podcast.
No way.
And it gave me like...
So wait, there's an app like Chat GPT app?
But you can also just use it on like a web browser.
Do you type in Chat GPT and then like there's a question box like Google?
Well, it's like a website.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And then the website is...
I'm showing my age.
It looks like Google, I guess.
Got it. Okay.
It's like a search engine.
And then like all these answers just come up?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Have you never used it? I don't know what you would use it for. But I don't know.
Chat GPT, help me with the scout.
No, it's like, I mean, you can type anything like what to wear to a 53rd birthday, and it would like give you an outfit idea.
Dude.
Like anything.
I got my own clothes though. Like
right, but it's like, okay, what is appropriate for...
I get you. Yeah.
It's like...
I'm going to try it. I'm going to tell you what I Chat GPT'd, and I'm going to tell you what the response is.
I've used it to like email people before too. Or like send a text that I have.
What?
Well, because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be too like informal.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Like
so
when
like
I invite
AI,
people to come on my podcast, like I'll put in like, invite so-and-so in a...
So you might say like, how do I say... Hey, yo, I want you to pull up to my podcast. Yeah. And then GPT will be like, would you like to... Da-da-da-da. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. It's very helpful.
Shorty is old for real.
Yeah, that was a really scary question.
I mean, it is what it is.
You can use TikTok, so that's okay.
Really well.
Really well. Exposing me on TikTok.
Remember, somebody was like, we did the one at Media Day. He was like, just put it on here and like, count it down.
Yeah. You're like, add a timer. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, okay, Coach Raina.
Clearly.
But you do your best.
It all looks good in the end.
It does, period. Okay. This is from ChatGPT as well. Shout out. This is titled Challenges and Lessons Learned.
Okay.
So what has been the most challenging part of your role as an assistant coach? If there has been one.
That's a great question. I'd say, I mean, there's this year, 14 people on our team, right? And so making sure to always have time for everybody, right? That's tough. And obviously I'm going to have time for my position group. Like that's already built in because we're doing pre-shooting, we're watching film and things like that. But just making sure like with Abby's position group or Randy's position group that I have a relationship with them. I think that's one of the hardest things, especially in the midst of a season. You guys have class, they're watching film, they're shooting, with their position coach. But like if I can take somebody to coffee, just making time to do that, or even just to check in, right? Like just a text message like, yo, we ain't chatted in a minute, but like you killing it. I know I'll see you today, but like we just don't have those conversations of like, how are you doing? Just making sure that I'm able to, keep those relationships with everybody on the team. I'd also say the second part is when you're recruiting somebody that you really are building a relationship with, because you're not going to have the same type of relationship or the same closeness with everybody that you're recruiting. But when they have to tell you no, You know, I know. And as a coach, you hear no way more than you hear yes, right? Just based on the numbers and things like that. But when you actually build something solid, and then knowing that you cannot text them once they get to college because that's tampering, right? So like, I mean, you can't just be like,
Dang.
good game. I mean, then they go on a transfer, but like, it's just, right? That's a thing. So knowing that like, typically that's the end of that relationship as you knew it.
That makes me want to cry.
It's so wild,
Did
isn't
you
it?
watch Callie and I's episode when we talked about that?
Oh, yeah.
That's like the worst part for being recruited
Saying
as well.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like The Bachelor, but the saddest bachelor ever. Because you have to say no to all these like really great coaches.
Yeah.
Oh,
The thing is, we hear it, right? And so like, there's some that, and it depends. I'm sure somebody on our staff is going to feel the no more than the other person because you're the primary. Right. And so, but it happens a lot.
I just got the flashback to when Coach Bluter called me about where I was going to go to college, because I remember like I'm from Iowa, so I had been to Iowa a lot, and like I was raised a Hawkeye fan. So I spent more time like talking to other schools and like going to other schools, because I felt like I didn't have to like
You knew what it was.
Yeah. She called me one day, and we hadn't talked in a while, and so I was like, oh God, Lisa Bluter's calling me. And I remember I like run up to my room, and I'm like, I had to catch my breath, and I'm like, oh, hey, Coach. And she's like, Jada, listen, we're just wondering, where's your head at? Like
running around the country, spending all this money.
I've seen you at all these places. You haven't called. You don't text. We haven't seen you in a while. What are you thinking? And I remember just at that moment, I'm not even sure if I ran this by anyone, but in that same moment, I was like, okay, I'm going to commit to Iowa today.
No way.
That's really what did it, because I was like,
I'm in.
Yeah, because she was like, I mean, we want to know, because if you don't want to come here, we're going to have to go look at other players. And I was like, all right, fair. I'm in, let's do it.
Dang, I love that.
It was so funny, because like, and then I get off the phone and I walk into my parents' room and I'm like, I just committed to Iowa. And my mom's like, what? And it was so exciting, but she really was like, she like pressed down on me, and I was like, oh, well, I guess you're right. And then I was like, man, I do kind of feel bad. I haven't been in like, what, 5 months to come visit? Sorry.
No, that's wild though. And that's not even like pressure. She's just literally asking you questions like tell me what's up.
Yeah, she's like, if you don't want to come here, that's okay. We just like need to know. And I was like,
actually, I do.
I guess I'll go. I know we haven't talked in forever, but welcome.
You're my people.
Yeah, I guess you're stuck with me now.
No, it's so wild to hear like everybody's commitment story, right? Like, because everybody's is so different.
Yeah.
And if I'm a part of it, obviously I vividly remember them all. But like, not to be a part of that phone call. But like when Lisa told us, right? Yeah. Obviously it was a celebration. But no, that's really fun.
Thank you.
And it's still a celebration every day.
I think Layla's was one of my favorite ones too. That one was so cute.
It was so cute. So like, I couldn't be a part of the end of it because they told me first, right? So they told me at lunch. But like, I was like, dang, because I couldn't like celebrate it because like everybody else was around the corner. So I was like, congratulations. And I'm like trying to hug them without everybody else seeing me. Yeah. But because they knew that I would be a part of that photo shoot, I had to help like get everybody in the room and stuff like that. But it was so cool, like especially to be able to capture the other Coach Jay, to capture her on camera, right? Like her first commit. Yeah. You know, like.
Oh, I didn't even think about it that way.
And as a post. You know, that's kind of wild. Yeah. So.
That one was cute. I remember. Yeah, you told me too, and I was like, what? This was so exciting. That was a very fun but stressful weekend. We had so many recruits.
We did, and we were flying people from everywhere. It was wild, but no, that was, I would think, a fun weekend. Once everybody got here and got settled, it was a big weekend.
Yeah.
But no, it was a lot of fun.
And we got Chop House. Anytime we go to Chop House, I'm like,
who pulling up? We need Chop House.
I wish you could have seen me ordering. We get the same thing every time we go. It's like every appetizer times 5.
Yeah.
So, and I think the guy, he had never been like our waiter before, so I was like, all right, I need you to listen carefully. I need 5 bacon boards, 4 cheese curds, 2 artichoke dips. He's like, 5? I'm like, yes,
These girls can eat.
5. 5 of them.
No, you know what's my favorite part about when we go out?
What?
Like, Hannah is always like, they're going to order lemonades, and I know it, but she never tells you guys not to do it. She just get mad when they come to the table. And I be thinking like, Hannah, I see 14 lemonades. Oh my gosh, why are they getting...
Oh, again, at Chop House, it was so funny. The guy, he asked me first what I wanted to drink, and I was like, I'm going to guess there's going to be about 11 Shirley Temples. And I go, everybody raise your hand if you want a Shirley Temple. Everyone's like, I'm like, yeah, so if you just count those, just bring out like, 15. And he brought out like 2 pitchers. I'm like, perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
We will go down on the Shirley Temple. That is no show.
That's funny.
Myself and the Estella's Taco-Bout Network are proud to support Count the Kicks. Count the Kicks is a stillbirth prevention program that teaches expectant parents to monitor their baby's movements through the 3rd trimester. Count the Kicks was started right here in Iowa and helped reduce our state's stillbirth rate by 32%. Expectant parents can download the free Count the Kicks app to monitor their baby's movements and speak up to their doctors if they notice a change. Visit counttthekicks.org to learn more. What advice would you give to someone looking to get into coaching? Ooh. At any level? Because you've been like everywhere.
Yeah. Make sure you know what it entails, right? Because any profession can look one way, whether you're watching it on TV or, you think you know what it is, but we put a lot of hours in, right? So make sure you know what you're getting yourself into based on that level. Obviously, high school is going to be different than like Power 5 college, but also make sure you're ready, right? Like, watch the game of basketball, love the game of basketball, train people in every position, right? Like, I remember vividly me having to take over for Coach Jay one day and like put the post through some drills. And I was looking at Monica like, help me.
What do you guys normally do?
Because I'm not ever down there with them. But I can come up with some things like that. But I want to make sure I was doing it correctly. But just like make sure you know like different positions and what the, coaching, make sure you know different terminology. Because when you get to different teams, it's different, on every team. And so even Sean and Randy right now, they come from different terminology. And so we're all having to get on the same page. So when we present a scout, it's similar to you guys, right? We're not talking about, hammers over here and flares over here and rails over here and slots over here, highways and, so just trying to get all that stuff figured out. I would also say like, I heard this a while back and, if you're looking to get into it, it's great to go network, but it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Right. And so you think about even me when I got the job, both jobs, when I got to the University of Michigan, actually when I got to Central Michigan and when I came here to Iowa, I didn't know the people that hired me. Yeah. They called me, right? Especially Kevin and Lisa. Yeah. They called me because I was intentional about telling everybody what it is that I wanted to do. And so those kind of just grew legs and got to the people that were in charge of hiring. And so making sure you're intentional about putting your dreams out there and then just being ready when your time's called.
You're so inspirational.
You're welcome.
Okay, my last piece of advice. I feel like this is something that maybe more of my viewers would want to know. But what advice would you give to a young kid who wants to play college basketball?
Chase your dreams. Bet on yourself. Right? Like, because there's so many people that instill fear in people. Well, what about this? You're not going to be able to do this. You're too small. You're too slow. You're too that. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, chase your dreams. There's more than enough resources out here. You can literally watch YouTube and find out drills to do. You can,
Chat
GPT, like, how do I get my film to coaches? Right? Put yourself in positions to put yourself, to play in front of coaches. So I would just say, like, just follow your dreams. Like, and don't let anybody else put fear into your life. So.
I love that. Okay, my final question, because we haven't talked much about this season, but what are you most excited for this season, and what are you excited for? Like, what do you want the fans to really notice about our team this year?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so two things. So I'm most excited to see this team, like, create their own identity. Right. I think for especially the last 2 years, we've been known as one thing, and so I think we're a very different looking team. And so I'm excited to see like where it goes, right? Like who has the breakout games. And I don't think it's going to be one person each game, right? I think it's going to be different people every game. We look at how we've been scoring the last 2 games that we've had, right? So many people in double figures. Yeah. That's been fun. So to kind of develop the identity of this team is something that I'm looking forward to. And then the next question was about the fans.
What do you want them to notice about this team?
Yeah. And that answer is kind of the opposite. It's just more of the same. How much joy this team plays with, that the culture is a really good place, and how much we actually celebrate each other. The young guys messing with you guys, and it's just great. Like
young girls.
To watch you guys now step into leadership roles, like it's a breath of fresh air because we're now hearing different voices, right? To be able to see you come in and lead, and I think you're one of the best communicators on our team, right? Like for sure, like to see the way that you guys are leading. These young guys, and to watch them come in with so much confidence, and for them to be like, yeah, we're freshmen, but we're Iowa Hawkeyes. Right. Like there is a standard, and you making sure that they live up to that standard every day in practice.
It's hard,
so
I'm about to get gray hair.
Hey, the names on the back of the jersey might change, but the culture's still the same. So.
Aww. Miss them. But yeah, it is great. I'm very thankful for you to come and share your wisdom on this podcast. I learned a lot about you.
Yeah. Love you,
so inspirational. I love you. But thank you for doing this for me. I forced you into it. You had no choice.
You know I wanted to be here. You my dog.
You actually did tell me, you were like, so when do I get to
I
come
mean,
on the
like,
podcast?
tick, tick, tick. Yeah.
We're already in season 2.
Let's go. Wrap this up now.
Right. But thank you. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next Tuesday.